Have you ever wondered how MUZZ creates his dance floor drum and bass bangers? Well, today I'm going to be showing you how to recreate his iconic bounce like in Don't Stop or in Rain Dance. Welcome back to How to DNB with Inverse Audio. My name's 5X and I've got another slapper for you today. Drop a like if you've enjoyed the video. Can we go for 200 likes, please? Leave a comment on what you want to see on the channel next. And without any further ado, let's get right in the video. Feels like it's freezing outside. MUZZ's signature sound is anchored by his powerful drums. Opt for elongated, weighty drum samples, especially for the snare. You want a snare with a pronounced body and a lingering tail to create that impactful punch. His hi-hats maintain a steady bounce, often layered with crisp, splashy rides every second beat. Don't shy away from incorporating percussion to inject rhythmic intricacies and elevate the track's dynamic appeal. Alright, so if you guys are interested in this song, it is actually coming out next Friday, on Friday the 15th of March. It's a collaboration between me and Feed the Fire. Go check him out. He's a really good producer. So I'm just going to be breaking down how we made this track. It's very MUZZ inspired, so I felt the title was appropriate. Anyway, let's start off with the drums, starting off one by one and then playing it all together as always. So first off, we've got a very nice long and punchy kick. It's got a very nice click to the start of it. Next, we've got a very long snare. It's very powerful and just really heavy, and that's what gives it that bounce. So usually I'd say that snare's a bit too long, but for this sort of style, you do want it to be really long. And next up, we've got the hi-hats, one playing every beat, one every half beat, and one every 2 beats, along with that ride that I was talking about earlier. And then I've layered this with the top loop, and then together the drum loop sounds like this. Pretty basic stuff, but then I've added a few accent percussions just to make it a bit more interesting. The only other interesting technique I've applied here is halfway through the drop, in this little breakdown here, what I've done is I removed everything but the kick, and then I've just reversed it, so it sounds like this. Makes it a bit less boring, and that reverse kick just brings back the rhythm. The heart of MUZZ's style lies in his bass lines. To nail that dance floor ready vibe, syncopation is key. Craft your bass lines with syncopated notes, ensuring they drive the rhythm forward with vigor. To create more interest to the track, use accent bass lines, incorporating elements like stabs and subtle foghorns to add depth and texture. So now this is going to be the main thing that sets MUZZ apart in the dance floor scene, is these sort of syncopated basses. So usually what we would see in a traditional dance floor bass is these notes every beat, right? But what MUZZ likes to do is just incorporate them every half beat, and then I've also added in this little accent note as well. So then when you pair that with the kick and the snare, you start to build that rhythm. And let me break down the patch for you now. So I've actually gone for this weird wavetable, asymmetrical goddess, I don't know. Anyway. All that's happening here, LFO1 is shaping the cutoff. And we've got this Scream LP here, and on the effects, just a tiny bit of distortion and chorus just to make it a bit wider. It's a very simple patch. On the post-processing, we just have a decapitator for that extra drive. We have a Pro Q3, removing them lows, and then I didn't like this frequency here, clearly at 20,000 hertz, so I removed it. LFO tool to shape the sound, as without it, it sounds like this. With this LFO tool, we get that bounce. A disperser, just to disperse it across a stereo field, and a rift as well. So this is without effects. Very weak signal, and then when we add all that together. So then along with this bass, I've added in 2/3 layers. The first one is a wide one. And this one doesn't have the accent note, and it's actually a preset I found, but I've modified it, I believe. Anyway, it's just the icon has kick wave with a basic shape, so just the sign to reinforce that bottom harmonic. And then we have a distortion chorus and a multi-band compressor, pretty simple stuff. And on the effects here, we have a Pro Q3, so removing the lows again, dipping into some of those mids so it's not too muddy. A wider, going extremely wide, as you can see. Really opens that sound up, and a decapitator for some further distortion. So before. So yeah, now that we have the main layer, the main bass, and then the wide layer, we're starting to build it. Now, to increase the mono compatibility of the sound, because those two basses are quite stereo, especially this one, I believe I've just layered a basic sawtooth for -2, and it's just using the envelope as the modulator for the cutoff. And this one is just entirely mono. Just a bit more distortion on there, removing them lows, so that when you pair the three together, you get a nice and powerful sound. And then when you play that with the drums, you start to get that MUZZ bounce. Then the next thing I added was this sort of bounce bass. That's what I've called it. And I'm not entirely sure how I made it, because I was trying so much to recreate his sound, and I found that there's like a little high-endy sort of bouncy, not bass, but texture in there, and I created it using like this. Just brings a bit more rhythm into it, and it's playing, you know, some syncopated notes, etc. But yeah, that in itself, when you layer that with just a constantly held down sub, is pretty much the MUZZ bounce. Cool, we've got a nice little chord change there. But you need to make this a bit more interesting. So the way that I've done that is I found this splice sample and added just a bit of reverb on it. And sidechained it, of course. So that sounds like this. You need these accent bass lines that are going to fill in, you know, the start, the downbeat, and then the middle sections in between. So another thing I've made here is this really cool sort of harmonic bass, I've called it. It's like a subtle foghorn, which goes like this. It actually pans over here as well, as you can see. It goes from left to right, if we just listen to it soloed. So I can't remember how I made this exactly. But it is just a sawtooth at +7 with this MG low filter. Basically what we're doing here is we're driving that resonance really high to try and get a nice frequency. We're shaping the frequency with this peak here. And I've turned on key tracking, so whatever note I play, it's still going to peak it. On the effects here, we have a distortion, chorus to make it wider, compression and EQ, pretty standard. And then the other interesting thing is I have LFO1 to control the level here, which is just going to do every fourth note. But interestingly enough, I have LFO2 doing the same thing, but the rise is set to 1/4. So that means for the first note that it plays, it's just going to be the distorted sine wave. And then for the second one, it's going to be the sine wave and the sawtooth wave. So it sort of like rises into the sound, if that makes sense. And then just that really nice, lovely long reverb. On the effects, distortion, riff, got a bit of shaping again with that Q, making it wide, compressing it a bit of soothe, disperser, and then standard clip, just to tame that sound because it's really loud. And then just a reverb that's actually side chaining within itself. It's a really cool plugin. Yeah, anyway, that is pretty much, I think that's all the bass lines, so I'll play them all together now. And then just to break up at the end, I found this sub wobble, which sounds like this. So yeah, that paired with the sub wobble, and then you've got the reverse horn, which is just this sample but reversed and reverbed. It creates like a nice little gap. Hits a listener and they're like, what the hell is happening? Didn't expect it. Anyway. MUZZ's vocal approach is simple yet impactful. Rather than endlessly scouring sample libraries, opt for concise chants or straightforward 4-bar loops. Repeat these vocal motifs throughout the track for cohesion and memorability. To enhance vocal depth, experiment with form and manipulation techniques, giving your vocals a richer, more resonant timbre. So for the vocal on this track, I got it from Splice, surprise, surprise. And this is what it sounds like.
I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like it's freezing now. So I keep saying.
And that just repeats basically throughout most of the track. And what I do is I drop the formant of it using Little Alter Boy, which I'll show you in a second, just to make it more interesting.
I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like.
And I did the same technique in Fever, and it just allows the vocal to be played more without it getting too boring. So yeah, when that's playing, it drops to -12.
Keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like it's freezing now. So I keep.
And the reason why it's on -7, I think, by default, is because I have pitched it up +5 semitones, just because the original was out of key. So yeah, when you put that together with the drums and the bass, you start to get a really cohesive track that works really nicely. Another thing I've done here is having like a telephone EQ,
Like it's freezing outside.
just repeating that main vocal motif.
I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like it's freezing now. I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like it's freezing now.
The atmosphere is crucial for setting the tone of MUZZ's tracks, particularly in the intros. Embrace darkness and urban grit by layering distorted electric guitars with gritty Reese bass lines. Integrate ominous sirens and other dark industrial ambiances to enrich the sonic landscape. Explore the interplay between light and shadow to craft intros that captivate and intrigue from the outset. The main element in this intro is this lead that Feed the Fire crafted. I'll quickly play it. It slowly filters in. And yeah, that was really cool. So that was really the basis of this whole track. And that is paired with, I think, first of all, I recreated the melody with a pluck. And I did this really cool technique where if you grab something like a Pro R and you can manipulate the distance, and that basically just puts it further back in the mix. So this reverb's very close. And then what I did was sent it really far back so that when this is playing, it feels like it's been introduced for this main element here. Next up, we've got some chords. Pretty basic patch. It's just sawtooth waves with LFO1, and then macro 1 is going to the cutoff as well. Just a bit of distortion. Really simple patch, but it just has a nice reverb on it, as you can see there. Makes it sound very full. And then I have 3 atmospheres. I believe they are all from, yeah, they're all from Output Arcade. So yeah, when you put all those together with the vocal, for example, you get something like this.
Like it's freezing outside. I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing and it still feels like it's freezing now. I keep.
MUZZ's build-ups are masterclasses in tension and anticipation. Utilize the main bass line or melody as the focal point, gradually introducing it through filtered sweeps to heighten suspense. Complement this with rhythmic elements like repeating kicks or snares to drive the momentum forward. Enhance the build-up with sprinkling of atmospheric effects, culminating in a climatic release that embodies the essence of MUZZ's dynamic style. So for the build-up, what I have here is this main bass line, which just filters in over time using a high cut. And then I have the main melodic element, which is this lead, layered with the pads. We have the vocals sitting on top of that.
I keep saying that it's only for a season. The weather keeps changing.
And we've gone for a kick here as well as a build-up that I found on Splice, I believe. Yep. And then I've sprinkled in some effects as well. So let's have a listen to those. Pretty basic stuff, just rises and impacts just to create that tension. So we've got that really nice sub drop there as well in that gap. But yeah, the full build-up sounds like this. But yeah, guys, that is the full track breakdown and how to make drum and bass like MUZZ. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's tutorial. Now, quickly, I just want to say, if you guys want to stream or buy this EP, me and Feed the Fire have made 4 amazing tracks. All of them are very different and embrace this sort of new dance floor style that's been circulating. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as we liked making it. It'll be out on March 15th on all platforms via Pure Filth Records. If you're interested in any sample packs, make sure to go check out our website. Same things with one-to-one lessons or any mixing and mastering services you might have. But yeah, without any further ado, I'll play a quick little snippet of the song. But like I said, it'll be out in about a week's time, so you can listen to it there. But yeah, that's been it from me. Inverse Audio out.
Like it's freezing outside. Like it's freezing outside.